What's up, guys? Today, I'm going to be talking about why Friday the 13th, Part 3 is special to me.
Let's start with the story. I know a lot of people say Part 3 has a simple plot, but honestly, that's part of why I love it. A group of friends heads to Higgins Haven for what should be a relaxing weekend. At the same time, Chris Higgins returns to the place where she experienced a traumatic encounter years earlier. She wants to face her fears, but unfortunately for everyone, Jason is still alive and begins hunting everyone down. It's not a complicated story, but it doesn't need to be. The movie keeps things focused and lets the suspense build naturally. It feels like a classic slasher done right. Now let's talk about Higgins Haven.
Higgins Haven is easily my favorite location in the entire franchise. There's just something about the barn, the house, the woods, and the lake that creates the perfect horror atmosphere. The setting feels isolated, creepy, and believable. Every time I watch the movie, Higgins Haven almost feels like its own character. It has such a memorable look that I instantly recognize it.
Next, we have the characters.
One of the reasons I enjoy Part 3 so much is because the cast is memorable. Chris Higgins is one of my favorite final girls in horror. She's brave, determined, and never gives up. Instead of simply surviving by luck, she actually fights back against Jason. Watching her stand her ground makes the finale much more satisfying. The supporting cast is fun too. Whether it's Shelley, Vera, Rick, Andy, Debbie, Chuck, Chili, or the others, everyone has their own personality. They feel like real friends hanging out before everything goes horribly wrong. Now let's talk about the biggest reason Part 3 stands out. This is my favorite Jason design in the entire franchise. This is the movie where Jason finally puts on the hockey mask, and that completely changes horror history. Before Part 3, Jason wore a sack over his head. It worked, but it wasn't nearly as iconic. The hockey mask transformed Jason into one of the most recognizable horror villains ever created. I also love how human Jason feels here. He's big, powerful, intimidating, and relentless. But he isn't a supernatural zombie yet. He's still a human killer who relies on his strength, intelligence, and survival instincts. Richard Brooker's performance is incredible. He gives Jason body language that makes him feel alive. Every movement feels calculated, whether he's stalking someone, standing perfectly still, or suddenly attacking. He always feels threatening. To me, Richard Brooker is Jason. Now let's talk about the kills. Part 3 has some of the most memorable kills in the entire franchise. Rick's head crush is easily one of the greatest Jason kills ever. Watching Jason squeeze Rick's skull until one of his eyes pops out is shocking and unforgettable. It perfectly shows how physically powerful Jason really is. Then there's Andy's death. Jason slices him completely in half while Andy is walking on his hands. It's creative, brutal, and one of Jason's coolest kills and my favorite kill in the franchise. Vera's death is another classic because Jason uses the spear gun, showing that he doesn't always rely on the machete. Debbie's death underneath the hammock is memorable because Jason quietly strikes from below. Even the smaller kills help build Jason's reputation as one of horror's greatest sure's. Every kill feels different, which keeps the movie exciting from beginning to end. The movie perfectly balances suspense with action. There are moments where Jason slowly stalks his victims, making every scene tense because, he's somewhere nearby. The nighttime scenes around Higgins Haven are especially creepy. The soundtrack also deserves credit. Every time Jason appears, the music instantly creates tension. The final act is one of the best endings in the franchise. Chris doesn't give up. She fights Jason throughout Higgins Haven, leading to an intense chase through the house and the barn. The barn showdown is one of my favorite moments in the entire series. Chris uses everything she can to survive before finally hitting Jason in the head with an axe. Ending is incredibly satisfying because Chris earns her victory. Even though the dream sequence at the end is strange, it leaves the audience with one final creepy moment before the credits roll. Another reason Part 3 means so much to me is how important it is to horror history. Without this movie, Jason probably wouldn't be remembered the same way. This is where the hockey mask became part of horror culture forever. When people think of Jason Voorhees, they usually picture the Part 3 mask. This movie created the image that would define the franchise for decades. Finally, I want to explain why I personally love this movie so much. Whenever I think about Friday, The 13th Part 3 is always the first movie that comes into my mind. It's the one I can put on at any time and never get tired of watching. It has my favorite Jason design, my favorite Jason actor, my favorite setting, some of my favorite kills, a great final girl, an iconic ending. And one of the most important moments in horror history with the debut of the hockey mask, to me. Part 3 perfectly captures everything I love about Friday the 13th. It represents Jason at his absolute best as a human killer before the series became more supernatural. Shelley is one of my favorite side characters in the movie because he's different from everyone else. He's awkward, funny, and constantly tries to make people laugh with his practical jokes. Deep down, though, he just wants to fit in and be accepted. That makes him feel more relatable than a lot of slasher characters. Even though some people find him annoying, I actually feel bad for him because you can tell he's insecure and he's using humor to hide it. He isn't a bad person, he just wants people to like him. What's really amazing is how important Shelley is to the entire Friday the 13th franchise. Without him, Jason never gets the hockey mask. So in a way, Shelley helped create the Jason everyone knows today. Even though Shelley isn't on screen for the whole movie, his impact on the franchise is enormous. Every time I see Jason wearing that hockey mask, I think about Shelley and how important his character really was, and I feel sad when he dies. Well, everyone. I agree that's the best in the franchise, Prob. Not everyone has their favorite in the franchise. But for me, it's Part 3. This is a special movie to me. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Let me know your favorite Friday the 13th movie, and let me know where you'd rank Part 3 on your list.